Are you looking to level up your business and or simply crack the code on how to shift from self-employed to CEO of your business? Wherever you are in your entrepreneurial journey, it's never too early or late to scale, level up, and shift up. Hi, I'm Kelley McNicoll, host of the Shift podcast. I'm a business coach, consultant, online educator, brand strategist, and marketing expert. And I'm genuinely so glad you are here. On the Shift podcast, we will share the real talk behind what CEOs need to know and take action on to grow, scale, be and remain relevant and successful, and to help others of you shift from that self-employed grind to leaning into and holding that position as the CEO of your company. So let's dig in and start taking massive action. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I am your host, Kelley McNicoll. And today's episode is the first episode. And I thought I would start with an unpopular opinion around titles, specifically titles for women who are entrepreneurs. And the reason why I'm starting with this one first is it's going to tell you a bit about my origin story. We're going to touch on a few really kind of important things to me, which are the pillars, which if any of you have seen my recordings, you know what they are. I'm going to touch on those. And I picked the unpopular opinion and the titles because I responded to a quiz that somebody put out there in trying to attract, like seeing how they would attract their clients. And I wasn't surprised to see. So these were the three options. It was, what do you call yourself? Do you call yourself a female entrepreneur, a mom entrepreneur, or just simply entrepreneur? And so, of course, this is in a group on Facebook, and it is all female entrepreneurs. I believe most are moms. And there was a big mix of reactions, but like 90%, or maybe not that high, but still really high, went with entrepreneur. And then people started speaking up about it, and people were talking about why they didn't like the label female entrepreneur or mompreneur because they felt like it labeled them, like there was something sexist about it, like there was something anti-feminist about it, like we shouldn't have to label ourselves female entrepreneur or mompreneur because the guys don't do it. And in fact, some people even expressed that if they see somebody who gives themselves the title mompreneur or female entrepreneur, that in their mind, that means that this person is not a serious business person, that in fact, this is a side hustle or they're just not a serious business person. And I'll be honest with you, I've been on the fence about it. And in that particular moment, I decided that I was gonna fully own my mompreneur label. And I made a comment in it. So I didn't simply vote. I wrote a comment and I wrote it out long. And essentially, I wrote out that I put myself as a mompreneur because I've earned it. I often hashtag things, as you guys know, mom, boss, widow. And of course, it's in that order. And I was actually an entrepreneur before I was a mom. But when I thought about my crafting my business and what entrepreneurship looked like for me, and one of the whys, the reasons why I would do it, was this future vision of the children that I wanted to have. And not that I was expecting to have a man who expected me to be at home cooking, so on and so forth, or even that my business was going to be a side hustle. But I knew that for me as a mother, not knowing who my partner was going to be, any of those things. I wanted to be the mom that could bake the cookies. And so if I'm working from home, I can do that. I can actually bake cookies while I do some of my work, right? Not right now, obviously, while I'm recording, be too much noise in the background. However, if I am dictating content for a course or outline for my next week or next year, or I'm recapping and dictating sort of a recap of a client meeting and homework type stuff or things to act upon as far as strategies and things that we've created, I can do that using my digital devices to record that, and I can bake some cookies. I can also arrange my schedule so that I'm seeing clients during the daytime, and then I can catch up on admin stuff. I like to get up early in the morning when things are quiet anyways, have some coffee, and that's when I like to catch up on emails and kind of plan out my day, do some admin tasks, delegate to my team, those kinds of things. So before I was a mom, I was an entrepreneur. I am still an entrepreneur, and I'm a serious business person. And I said that I picked the Mompreneur label because I felt I earned it. And I want to wear it proudly because to me, being an entrepreneur is being a CEO. I didn't create a side hustle. I don't have a side hustle. That's not ever what I've done. I own a business. I have other interests and investments and things that also add to my family income. I came from modest beginnings and am now worth multi-seven figures. That's a serious business person. And I was a serious business person from the moment I started it. And then I had children. And of course, what I'm doing for business has changed. It's evolved. And mainly because as I've done business, people were being referred to me to come see me for a consult. Mentors were sending some of their people my way. And I just kind of evolved into this role, which I absolutely love. Wouldn't trade it for anything. My mompreneur title, my mom boss widow, is because I've earned that. I've earned my CEO title. I earned being a mom. And not to throw shade on the men, but we are the stronger of the sexes. If any man's perfectly honest with themselves, they can't do half of the things that we do. And part of it is because of how much more we're more emotional creatures. We are typically the more heart-driven of the sexes. Also, we have all of the feminine body parts and things that come with it. Menstrual cycles, pregnancy, birth, breastfeeding, all of these things. And I've yet to meet a man on this planet who said he could handle being pregnant for a couple of hours. None of them will ever want to give birth, right? So I've earned the mom title. And again, when I wanted, one of my whys, when I think back, way back when, I mean, not, my teen year self starting my little lawn mowing company, but into my adult life, I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I also knew that I wanted to be a mom. And I knew that that was a big part of my why. I wanted to be able to be available at minimum after dinner and on the weekends. Now I'm able to be available as soon as school is done or their after school activities or whatever that is. But these are things that were important to me before. I knew they would be important to me. Now, my vision of how I want to be a mother can absolutely be different from yours. Some of you may want even more time than that. And some of you think, oh, that's cuddling your children. Whatever your vision is, that's fine. And same thing with your title, whatever you choose your title to be. But I'll be honest with you, I bucked against this mompreneur, femalepreneur persona. And part of it is because I grew up around a lot of misogyny. And even as I ventured out on my own in my late teens, finally getting my own first apartment by myself when I was 18, I resented being a woman for a while. I literally resented it. I resented the fact that I would walk down the street and it didn't matter what I was wearing. And believe you me, I don't dress, I never have. I don't dress provocatively. I'm probably more of I like the classic traditional look. I'm not super trendy with things, like just not who I am. And I resented that we would walk down the street and somebody would whistle at you, like a guy would whistle at you. And I would think, what on earth gives them the right to do that? And also, what on earth do they suppose is going to happen? Like, really? Do you really think that I'm just going to sit there and go, oh my goodness, you whistled at me? That is just the most lovely and flattering thing ever. Please take me to your layer now. It really bothered me. It also bothered me on a business level, whether I was working for somebody else, working for myself, that people took you less seriously. If you're a woman, you have to work 10 times harder to prove yourself, which I thought was ridiculous because a lot of the times I knew I was better at, smarter at than the men that were also there working. I resented it. It was probably a good 2 years or so before I stopped kind of resenting being a female. And then I really thought, after all of these years and working in companies and starting companies and coaching people and consulting people and helping them grow multi-million-dollar companies, I earned my place in the business world. I was a military spouse. My husband was sometimes gone up to 75-80% of the year. I gave birth to 3 young children in my late 30s. I was raising them. I was growing businesses. I was coaching people. I thought I'd earned my place. My husband got ill. 2 years of caring for him, supporting him, loving him, advocating for him. I survived all of that. I took care of my family. I took care of my husband. And when he passed, I did all the things that he wanted. And then I focused on my children. I did all of these things. And I thought I earned my place. But I'll tell you a strange thing that happened. It turns out having a husband legitimized me. Isn't that ridiculous? And I know this for a fact because they were debating a policy with me. And they asked me if my husband knew that this is how I was operating my business, which was absolutely shocking. For one thing, what on earth makes you think that I'm married? And second of all, what on earth makes you think that I can't start and run a business by myself, that I'm not more business savvy and minded than my husband is? I was really shocked at this. Somebody else, I hired a contractor to do work. They did not do the work. And then they decided to sue me for not paying them for the work that they did not do. And in fact, the person who paid it is my only witness. And then even the judge, or whatever you call it, that's presiding over it, presumes to question my parenting when scheduling things. And I say, I can't do that. Well, we'll be away. Where will you be? On holiday. You're taking your children out of school? No, my children are out of school then. People question this. Family members that have misogynist tendencies, they used to come and visit all the time when my husband was alive, have not come to see me since. I found myself resenting being a woman again. I thought, what a crock of shit, pardon my French. then I just thought to myself, because as you know, I have a mantra every year. And last year's mantra was to accept the things that you cannot change and change the things that you can, was the fuck it, not fuck you. And the fuck it, not fuck you was about really understanding that somebody else's opinion of me or anything like that, while it may be about me, it actually has nothing to do with me. And I know this on an intellectual level, but it would still kind of eat up my core. And I really wanted to not carry that burden anymore. And it wasn't until I said those lines, and I was actually consoling a friend, I think, or replying to a question they asked me. And then it just came out of me. And I said, they said, what are you going to do about it? And I said, actually nothing, because the truth of the matter is it's about me, but it has nothing to do with me. So in fact, it's their problem and not mine. And so when I sat there and pondered this question about the title and was looking at so many people picking the entrepreneur and going, you can't label me female entrepreneur, you can't label me mompreneur, because they felt like that diminished who we are. And I sat there and thought, no, I actually want to own this and claim this because I earned it. And in fact, it makes me who I am. It's part of my why, right? What are the pillars, guys? Your why, your what, your who informs the how. So it's part of my why. It doesn't mean I don't work a full week, right? It doesn't mean that I don't do full business. It doesn't mean that I'm a side hustle. Because let me tell you, raising 3 kids by yourself is no joke. There's camps, activities, there's school, there's all the things. I don't do it part-time. So I decided then and there that, again, fuck it, not fuck you. I own this. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about it. If I want to wear that badge because I know I've earned it, I've earned it because I was an entrepreneur first and then I became a mom, but I knew that was part of the plan. So it informed my what, my who, and my how. It is a part of my why. My why is part of that origin story. So I own that. And moreover, it allowed me to scale down, to be able to care for my children, care for my husband, do those things. Because I wasn't in a 9-to-5 job. Not that I wouldn't have been able to have one, or I probably would have gotten fired from one during that time, because it's a lot of appointments and whatnot. But that's part of it. And I did it because I didn't want anybody else. I did it precisely because I am a feminist. I'm not just a feminist. I'm actually just an individual person who does not want to be at the mercy of anybody else. I don't want to be told how much money I can make. I don't want to be told that I have to work these 40 hours every single week between these times and show up at this place. I don't do well with that. I guess I'm a rebel. And I don't like it. It actually drains me in a way to have to be that on somebody else's schedule and be told this is, you show up at this time, tell them this time. It's just not my bag. And that's fine if it's yours. And some people actually don't thrive outside of that. Like they thrive really well in that, and they like climbing the corporate ladder, and that's fantastic. And you do you, but for me, that's not it. So Mompreneur, because it always informed. I knew that I wanted to be a mom. I had no idea what it was going to look like. I had no idea who I was going to marry, but I knew I wanted to have kids. And so I knew, if any of you guys do manifesting, you understand, right? It's about creating. You show up every day and you just keep working towards that. And you do that by having a vision in your mind and by showing up with intention and by creating that space. If you want to have a family one day, you're not going to sit there and start doing something that's contrary to that. You're going to do the things that invite it in. So you're going to create the space and the environment so that it can come to you. And not only that, so that when it shows up to you, that you are able to see it and recognize it for what it is, so that you take those opportunities, then they come your way, which was my late husband. We have the children. So this is how I manifested that, is because I knew back then that being a mom was going to be important to me. So the mom piece, even before I was a mom, actually came before the entrepreneur. Does it make me less of an entrepreneur? No. And in fact, to me anyways, it makes me that much better of an entrepreneur. Because it's made me really have to think about, how do I plan my days, right? Like, if this is what I want, if these are the things that's going to be important to me, how do I plan that? My kids are me off for 2 weeks during Christmas. I don't take the full 2 weeks off, but I'm not working my full regular week, right? So this is something I thought about. How am I going to set up my business? When am I going to hire teams? How am I going to scale so that things are not dependent on me being there, pushing the buttons, doing the things every day? I'm not trading my time for dollars. That's not the only way that money is happening. That's not the only way that my customers are getting served or any of those things, right? There's other pieces in place. So automations, all of those things. And I'm not somebody who sits there and goes, automate everything. Those of you who know me, I love the personal touch. I want to communicate. I want to see your face on Zoom or in person or whatever it is that we can do. So I'm a mom first. I'm an entrepreneur second. And then I put widow, because that also informs who I am. Because if nothing, it actually drives me to succeed more, because there is nobody else. There's nobody else there. There's nobody else to help do the parenting. There's nobody else there to help with the house stuff. There's nobody else there to manage the other properties. There's nobody else there to handle the kids. There's nobody else there to run my business. Because in fact, my late husband, he was a great supporter, and he was a great sounding board. And when he had times off, he would be helping in the business. He actually took parental when we had our third for a year, and I would host things, and we both loved cooking. And he would put on these fabulous lunches, or I'd say, I'm going to host this event somewhere and provide the hors d'oeuvres for such and such event. And he'd be there cooking away, doing the stuff, and carrying the baby around and bringing her to me, holding her. I'd feed her, and he'd come with me to meetings. We'd sit in the Starbucks, and I'd nurse her. And then I'd go to my meeting, and like clockwork, it'd be 3 hours, and he'd come knock. It was like, it's time to feed the baby. And that was my jet out. It was only supposed to be 3 hours. So he'd come with me and do those things. He was a fantastic supporter. And I really appreciated having that when he was home, that support. But now I'm a widow, so I do all the things alone, but it's even more important. It all rests on me. My kids' education, the time, the food on the table. Can they do these activities? Do they have food insecurities? Are they worried about having a roof over their heads? It's important to me that they don't worry about any of those things. And moreover, that I don't worry about any of those things, because I'm their mom, and my kids will wear what I'm feeling. You can't hide it from them. You can try. You think you can, but you can't. And this house is very open and communicative. So I own this title. And then somebody kind of mashed about it, and I saw the things, people talking about how, well, I would see you as less of a serious entrepreneur. And so then I just went on a rant, and I said, you know what? I put out why I own this and why I believe that now is the time that I wanted to claim it. Moreover, is because I did earn it. And if it turns you off, then that's fine. Right? That's fine. It's not like I'll walk up to everybody and be like, hey, I'm Kelley and I'm a mompreneur. But if somebody asks me how I would identify given those 3 titles, I'm going to every single time tell you I'm a mompreneur. And I'm going to say I'm mom, boss, widow, because I own those things, because I earn them, man. I earn them, and I wear them every day. And I get up and I show up every day. So whatever your title is, there's no right or wrong answer. I'm sharing with you mine because it is an unpopular opinion. It's a bit about my origin story. This is episode 1. And I want to set the stage as well and say that whatever you want to title yourself is cool with me, but don't do it because of what you think somebody else is going to think. I say this right now. You will hear me say it all the time. Define your market. Don't let the market define you. Same thing with the opinion. Don't be an influencer, but be influential. There's a difference, and there'll be an episode about that. Be influential. Don't try to be an influencer, because right now in that social media kind of realm right now, it basically just means somebody who has a ton of followers and does all this stuff and basically pushes people to buy products their way. And that's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about being influential. Being influential is part about being a movement, trying to encourage people by saying, you're not alone out there. Like the Me Too movement, for example. Gosh, that's a really heavy topic I just went to. But anyways, that was somebody being influential. That was somebody who went out there and wore this and said it loud and then created this movement about it. And I know it sounds like I'm trivializing the Me Too, but I'm not, because influential to me means a positive shift and a change. It means bringing light to and dispelling the fact that people have opinions about it, because they don't actually, or they shouldn't actually have an impact on whether or not you do that. Now, again, as long as it's safe, you're not hurting other people spiritually, physically, emotionally. It doesn't hurt anybody for me to own this title, Mom, Boss, Widow, right? But it might empower somebody to sit there and go, if I label myself Mom, Boss, Widow, right? Because this is a mindset piece. We're going to go into mindset here for a quick second. If you think calling yourself a mompreneur belittles your entrepreneur side, your kick-ass CEO, badass mama, like vibe, and then it kind of like, then that's going to seep into your brain and you're actually going to do less well. Because you're going to be thinking, I labeled myself with this and that means I'm small. That does not mean you're small. So what I'm saying to you is, if you want to own a title like mompreneur or femalepreneur, and you don't want people to think that it's small, then don't act small. Do it, wear it, and go big. Go big with it. I go big with it, and I own that. But again, if you just feel like it doesn't feel right for you and you just want to be entrepreneur, I totally get that too. Because you know what? Probably up until about 24 hours ago, I would have been like, yeah, man, I just want to be an entrepreneur. But some people, especially in an online space, you have to say, I'm a female entrepreneur just like you, right? And that's what people are searching for. But I'm not doing it for any other reason other than that's a tapestry of who I am, my life, and why I do what I do, why I do it so passionately, why I do it so big. I do it big. I am constantly striving to do bigger and better, to impact more, to help more. I don't do it small. I never have. In fact, I don't actually know how to do anything small, if anybody who knows me. So wear it, own it, and do big. Whatever the title is you want to give yourself, create a new one, man. Because I'll tell you what, you get to decide what you call yourself. You want to come up with a new word for entrepreneur, find a synonym for it, and then make that a trend thing that people are like, make that acceptable. You can do that because you get to define your market. It doesn't define you. You get to determine what that means to you, and you can share it. And then that should come mainstream. We're not talking side hustle. To me means you're doing smaller business. And I think that that's an appropriate title, right? It's a side hustle. I'm doing it on the side, right? I'm not mom side hustler. I'm a mompreneur, right? But there's probably mom side hustlers too, but that I digress. So mompreneur, I take it, I wear it. But moreover, I wanted everybody to just understand that don't pick a title because you're worried about what other people think. Because if it turns other people off from you, and you know this, if it turns other people off from you, or if it makes them come into you and talk kind of down to you, like you'll get that vibe, right? Step away, back away. Back away, and you don't want them. Why would you chase after people who aren't your true clients, who aren't there to hear what you have to say in the way you have to say it? Because you guys know this. There's 1,000 people that do the business, I'm putting quotation marks, right? That call themselves business coaches and consultants, that call themselves business strategists. It means different things to different people. It shouldn't. To some people, it just means your logos, your colors, da, da, da. It is not. It's way deeper than that. We'll go on to that another time. Look it up if that's what you thought it was and find out what it means. There's lots of people who do it, but there's nobody who does it like me, because nobody's me. Nobody has my experiences. Nobody has worked with the businesses that I've been with. Nobody's created the things that I've done. Nobody's going to tell it to you in the way that I tell it. You and me could have the exact same program, read off the same script, sell it for the same dollar amount. And the people that are going to come to you are going to be different than the people that come to me. Now, is it possible that I might end up with a couple of sprinklings of your clients and you with a couple of mine? Possibly. But it won't feel right. And truthfully, if they trusted their gut and we trusted our gut, we'd stop that at the gates. But again, you're individual, so you get to choose what it is. I tell you, you get to define what it is, and you get to tell people what that means to you. And they accept that and like it and go, yeah, that makes sense to me. And they get it, or they don't. But don't do it because you're worried that you're going to get laughed at or thought that you're not big enough or whatever that is. Don't do it for those reasons. Do it because you like this title. Don't do it because of the impression you think it is. I want you to understand and step into your power, your ability to be influential, your ability to drive and connect with the people who understand what you're saying and see things and want to go your way. Because especially in this day and age, if you're online, there's a lot of repetition of terms and words, and they're being misused, or moreover, I think that they're getting diluted. And so then they end up not necessarily meaning what they were supposed to mean, and they're overused, and then they become white noise, or like the boy who cried wolf. I want you to think about the word funnel. I'll talk about that one day. It's actually the exact concept that sales have been running off of forever and ever and ever. It's not a digital product. That's not where it came from, right? But in a digital space, that's how they're calling it, and they actually show you a diagram of it. But really, that's how sales have always worked. It's not just a digital product. It's actually how sales work. So think about those terms. Think about how now what a funnel means is this. Well, what if now going forward, Mompreneur means what I say it means? I hope it does too, because I don't want it to mean something small, because this mama is not playing small. And I know most of you out there, you're not playing small. And if you felt like you were playing small a bit because you're a mom and you're an entrepreneur, well, I hope that if that's not what you want to be, if you don't want to be doing it small, that this reminds you to give yourself permission and go out there and take it and do it. You just have to be smart about how you do it. You can't have it all, right? You just have to adjust what all looks like. I don't mean giving up things. I mean adjust what it looks like and then go after it. You have to be strategic. You have to be intentional and thoughtful, but you can do it. So this mompreneur, #mombosswidow, wants everybody to start off listening to this first episode, know where I stand, how passionate I am about being an entrepreneur, how passionate I am about all of you, how strongly I believe in your ability to create whatever it is that you want to create. I am wishing you some empowered title thinking today. I want you to just think about it. What is your title? Why do you call yourself that? Is it because that's truly how you resonate? Stick with it. Are you doing it maybe because you're worried that picking a different title might sound, I don't know, too much, not enough? List out your reasons why you think that that's the title you want, and then own it. Go forth, own it. Remember, you don't always have to know exactly where you're going, but if you get up and you show up every day in any way that you can, and you do it with an open heart, an open mind, rooted in your intentions and your values, you will always find yourself exactly where you're supposed to be. I promise. Hey, thank you for listening to The Shift with myself, Kelley McNicoll. I would love it if you could go to your favorite podcast app or the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, and leave us a review. Your feedback is always valuable, and it'll help us reach more people and make an impact. So we'll see you back here next week. And remember, you don't always have to know exactly where you're going, but if you get up and show up every day in whatever way you can, and you do it with an open mind and heart, rooted in your values, mission, and with intention, then you will always find yourself exactly where you're supposed to be. I promise.